Alright, so in this video we're going to go over how to open a video in Tracker and how to set it up and calibrate it so that we are ready to collect some data from it. Okay, so this is part one of the task. So you're given a link to where to download Tracker here. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the Tracker page, and there are installers for the different operating systems, and you'll need to download and install Tracker for your operating system. Okay, I've already done that, so I'm not going to worry about that. There's also a video clip here to download. You can just click on that, open it, and it'll open the video. You can download it by clicking this little download button, even if it hasn't opened yet. Okay, I've already done that too. So, once you've installed Tracker, you should be able to find it on your computer. So we look for Tracker, and there it is. And it takes a moment to open. And once it's open, you should get this window. So let me just resize that, sorry. And I'm not going to bother to upgrade now. Now we want to open a video in this window so that we can start analyzing it. So I'm going to go to File, choose Open File. So I'll go to Downloads, and I will choose Roller Coaster Loop. And there it is. So now if I hit play here, I can watch the roller coaster. This is shot in slow motion, so it's going to go very slowly. So this is a roller coaster rolling down a hill and then going around a loop. And then coming around and then going over a crest here. And you can see when it goes over the crest that there's a ball sitting in the back of the roller coaster that's not attached. So that made it safely around the loop here. Okay, so now our first task then, having opened it, is going to be to make sure the program knows how much time is passing between each frame so that it can start to analyze the physics. So we're going to click this little clip settings button, and it's set to 29 or 30 frames per second by default, because that's kind of what cameras generally record in. But this particular video was shot at 240 frames per second. That's why it's so grainy, but that's also why each frame is so clear. So the frames aren't blurred, which is what we want for this program. The other thing we need to do here is, obviously, shot at 240 frames per second, there are a lot of frames in this video, and we don't want to have to analyze each individual one. So we're going to increase the step size to 10, and then click OK. So now, instead of going through every frame, you'll see the video is a bit jerkier. It jumps 10 frames each time. That means that we don't have to analyze quite as many frames. Okay, so that's the first step done. The next step we need to do, so that the physics is right here, is tell the software how large things are. And to do that, we're going to add a calibration stick, which we can do using this calibration tools menu. And we choose New, and we're going to choose Calibration Stick. And now we want some sort of fixed distance. And in our report, we were given that the distance between these two black supports on either side of the loop, sorry, is 0.3 meters. So I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can get this more accurate. I'm going to zoom in a bit more. There we go. And it's between the black parts, so I'm going to hold down Shift so I get this crosshair, and then click at the end of one of those black supports, and then do the same at the other black support here. And then I'm going to tell the software that this is 0.300 meters. Okay, so now that's done. I'm going to go back to 100%. Oops, that was a bit. I'll fit it to the screen. Now that's going to end up being in the way a little bit. So I'm going to move it here. So now it knows how large everything is in this screen. So it just scales that to measure things. So the next thing we want to be able to do is, important for analyzing a roller coaster loop, is knowing what the radius of these arcs are. And we're particularly interested in the bottom of the loop here and the top of the loop here. So to measure the radius, so this you could imagine is part of a really big circle, the bottom loop, and the top bit is a part of a slightly smaller circle. And we want to know what those radiuses are so we can figure out things like centripetal acceleration. So to do that, we'll go to Track, New, and we'll go down to Measuring Tools, and we'll choose Circle Fitter. So now this track control in Circle A has appeared. I'm going to hold down Shift, and to work out the circle here, we just need to click on 3 points and then it'll produce a circle for us. So we're going to choose, there's 1 point on my circular arc, there's 1 point on my circular arc, and there's another point. So now there's my circle. I can move it like this. Can I? No. So it hasn't quite done it right. So I'm going to just take this point and move it so that it is in the right spot, and take this point and move that so that it's in the right spot. So now this green circle here has the same radius as the circle that would make up this arc here. You can see the green doesn't show up very well on the video, and I want to take a screen clipping of this eventually that's going to provide evidence in my report. So what I'm going to do is go to Track. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to Circle A here, under Track. And I'm going to change the footprint so it's bold. That makes my circle a bit bolder, but it's still green, which isn't great. So I'm also going to change the color to something really highlightery. So I'll go with this bluish color. So now that shows up quite clearly in my video. Now that might get in the way when I'm doing other things. If you want to hide a circle at any stage, you can just click Visible here and it will disappear temporarily. You can make it visible again if you need to make measurements with that. So now I've got a circle fitter. Another useful tool that we have here for calibrating the video is a protractor. So let's say we wanted to work out what angle this slope is here. Again, I'll go to Track. I'll go to New. Track, New. And I'll go down to Measuring Tools. And I can choose Protractor here. And I get this angle measuring thing that I can adjust. So I want to have it measuring that way, and probably from about there. I can fix this up, and then I can take this one and just place it near the top of there, and then move it so that that line measures up perfectly with the slope. And I've got my other line horizontal here, and now I can see that this angle, it says -53 because it's measuring it on the left. But basically this angle that's being measured here is 53 degrees. So the slope that the roller coaster was heading down at the start is 53 degrees, which might be a useful piece of information. The next little tool that you should really learn about is creating a coordinate axis so that it knows what point to consider to be 0. So if you look at these pink lines here, we can show where the 0 point is at the moment, which is by default right in the middle of the video. However, we want the lowest point on the loop, on the initial loop, to be our 0 point. So I'm going to move the axes so that the 0 point is exactly at the bottom of the loop here. This is an example where I might want to hide this temporarily so that I can see that there is where I want it. So now it knows that that is 0. I don't need to keep the axes in here because the more junk there is in the screen, the harder it becomes to see what's going on. So you can hide them again like that, but I am going to keep those there because I want them in the image that I clip in the end. All right, so the last thing, I'm going to make this visible again because I want that to show, so that I can show that I've done that. The last thing I want to do is show you how to add a measuring tape. So there are 2 ways that we can add a measuring tape. We can either do it from here and go New Calibration Tape, but I'm going to do it this way and add a new measuring tool tape measure. So now this red tape measure has shown up here, and now I can use that to measure the radius because it's automatically scaled with this calibration stick. So you can see if I make this as long as the calibration stick, it's 300 centimeters, or sorry, 30 centimeters or 0.3 meters. So now I can use this to measure the radius of the circle like so. And I can see that that circle is 0.169 meters radius. Okay, again, you can move those to the side when you're not using them, but I'm just going to leave that one there. In fact, I'm just going to make all of my things a little bit more bold as well. So we can go to track, calibration stick. We can give it a, it's already double bold, that's good. The axes and the tape measure, we'll give it a bold double arrow. There we go. Okay, so now the last step is just to learn how to copy this stuff over. So if we go to edit and copy image and choose main view here, it'll automatically copy everything that's in this main window. If I want to copy something else, I go to edit, copy image of the plot view. That'll plot whatever's in this graphing window, or table view. It'll plot whatever's in this table. But I'm going to copy the main view, and then I can go to my report, and I can paste that in here. And then I have an image with my evidence, and on this table I can delete some spare lines and maybe fit the whole thing onto one page. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just do this, and I'll take all of this stuff and copy it to the next page. Okay, so that's the first task done. These are the sort of basic steps. Most of these steps are basic steps that you would take just to set up your video. I'll just go back, because before starting the next task, I'm just going to make a few things invisible here. So I don't really need this circle fitter to be visible. I don't need the tape. Well, in fact, I can keep the tape measure in case I want to measure something later on. And I want to make the axes invisible. And the protractor I'm not actually going to use anymore, so I'm going to I'll just make it invisible. Okay, so now it's ready to start tracking the motion of the object, and we'll do that in the next video.